right, piston vinegar day 154, shoulders and biceps. These dumbbells are starting to fall apart. So I don't know what I'm gonna do as far as dumbbells go in the future. But yeah, I might have to drop a bunch of money and buy an actual proper dumbbell rack, which would be good. I much prefer a rack over the adjustable ones for so many reasons, but these are very cost effective and space effective, so I'd rather not. So someone asked me the other day, why do I do two different variations of barbell presses or dumbbell presses? And the answer is simple. Essentially, with the shoulders, they progress much slower than, say, a bench press, a deadlift, or a squat. It's a very small muscle group in the front delts and triceps and a little bit of upper chest if you're lucky. So in order to overrule the biological law of accommodation and to make sure that linear progression is more sustainable, you need to switch out different variations. Ones that are just slightly tweaked in order to make fresh gains unilaterally. So you would do, say, a dumbbell press week A and then a barbell press week B back and forth in order to make sure that the progressive overload is fresh rather than spamming the one variation every single week, ultimately leading to less progress, which doesn't really equate to as much gains. This is especially important if you're training high intensity training where there's no, periodization aspects, so you're not doing peaks and valleys, which can be good for your mental state where you get these crazy peaks with the progressive overload. But ultimately, linear progression gets you to the same spot, just less fancy and less extravagant. You don't get as much highs. So in order to make sure that your progression is, more sustained, it's best to, go between different exercises. Now, for a leg day, like a deadlift or a squat, if your calories are in order, your rest is ordered, and if you're getting really strong, then you need to rest longer in between sessions with high intensity training in order to keep linear progressing. That's one of the downfalls is people don't realize that. They try to train every 3-4 days and you make no linear progression. They're like, it doesn't work. Well, it does, but you just need to adjust relative to your strength level, relative to how much damage to your central nervous system you're going to create when you train with high intensity as a stronger individual. Now, if you are going to do that, I'd suggest that you choose one movement first. If you can linear progress well through one movement, then just do one movement. Do the movement that's best for you and your mind-muscle connection, injury, etc. So in my case, it would be a dumbbell over press. That's just better for my shoulders. The barbell is okay or pretty good, maybe 5-10% less effective, and thus I'd rather just do the dumbbell one. But now that I can only progress so much through the dumbbell ones because they've gotten so strong, doing the barbell one, which is slightly inferior, is then superior because that means I can get more linear progression. So linear progress through one first, then you start to stall out a little bit, then add an extra exercise in. And then after that, add another exercise in. Like the two idols of high intensity that we see, Mike Mensa and Dorian, were both on steroids. So linear progression is not really an issue there because they just keep progressing through, you know, being at such a high anabolic profile. Whereas if you're a natural, you're going to need a little bit extra, and in that case, it's going to be more variation. Fuck. Now, in saying that, there are some exercises where it's just going to be such slow progression, there's not much you can do about it. Case in point, side lateral raises. It's taken me, 4 months just to gain 3 kilos of strength in the, well, 6 technically because it's 2 different dumbbells, but you know what I mean. It's taken a hell of a long time because the side delt is such a fucking small muscle and the resistance curve is awful for, you know, strength. So some movements, you just, no matter how much rotation you have, they're just going to be slow to progress. In my case, the barbell curl is very much the same. Whereas with a tricep extension, in a very similar muscle size, just based off the exercise nature and the resistance curve and everything in between, you know, I've made mad linear progression for the tricep extension without any other variation. I just do that once a week and I progress through it. So some movements are just designed, or maybe not designed, but well, just are better than others for linear progression. At the end of the day, what matters if you are progressing, and even if you're doing a dumbbell press and you're only doing that, it's a very slow progression. If you don't feel like doing another movement, then just don't. Just understand that it's going to be slower progression, which doesn't ultimately mean that much. At the end of the day, what matters is you are progressing and that you are training to failure. All right, last session you saw me do the weird new rear delt variation where I laid down and did it like this, and it felt sick. So today I'm going to try the same thing, but with the side delts. I'm just going to experiment and see what's up. I haven't thought enough about why it is better to do it that way. I just haven't thought about it long enough to really come to a conclusion. I haven't thought about it at all. I just know it works better. But you know, maybe I'll think about it and come up with a conclusion. Oh, okay, hold on, that doesn't really work. Kinda. Ah, shit. like it. My shoulders have grown so much just from the one set of overhead press, one set of side laterals with the dumbbells anyway. I just like it. So I don't know if it really gain any more size. It might. It's like the overhead press where, you know, I'm kind of bargaining on numerous exercises, and maybe one does fuck all and the other one does heaps, and I'll never know that unless I was to shit test them, which I don't have time to bother doing, right? So in this case, I just do them both. Or in the shrugs case, the shrug is the best example of that. I do power shrugs to emphasize the stretch overload for like hyperplasia, and then I do a controlled strict one because that might be what's actually giving me the gains. Which one, I don't know, but I don't want to spend 6 months eliminating one and the other to figure out which one it is, so just do both. When in doubt, do them both and overkill it. The biceps, man, my bicep tendonitis is actually really going good at the moment, and I think it's just simply from switching from barbell curls to this. At first, I thought it was the side pressure training I do for my arm wrestling day. No, I don't think it's that. I mean, it might be partially that exacerbating then my inability to do curls. Either way, the curls is only making it worse. So, got rid of the barbell curl, which is inferior, vastly inferior to what I'm about to do anyway. Nowadays, it's just this wrist flexure issue that I have, but you know, that's not a huge deal. The bicep tendonitis is a real pain in the ass. I can still feel a bit of something there, but it's really gone away since I started doing this one instead. So, bicep tendonitis pain, lever bar. That's the way to go. Again, another example of a movement that gets harder at the top. So, perfect resistance curve. Woo. Fucking hell. Oh, God. Oh, fuck. These aren't decline curls. These are agony curls, dude. Get that stretch at the bottom, like lean forward a little bit, put your head forward, stretch out the humerus, get that stretch. Don't worry about slow negatives. Slow negatives are great, but on this one, just back that fucking hyperplasia affected fucking stretch, and then, yeah, that's some shit. Fuck. So unfortunately, this thing doesn't really work as a reverse bar curl because, I mean, it kind of can, but part of the reverse curl is wrist extension, which gets the brachialis involved more. Whereas with this, you can't really do wrist extension. So it doesn't really work, and it's just awkward. Like the only other way you could do it maybe is like that, but then it slips. It just doesn't work. So this thing's excellent, but not for reverse curls. Otherwise I would do them. Looks ugly, I know, but I don't have force reps, so. Oh, fuck.